Hello, my name is Robert, and I'm a part-time scientist. Today I want to show to you how we want to get to the moon by 2012. And I want to tell a little bit more of the Google Lunar X Prize. First of all, humanity has already been there. Probably every one of you remembers the Apollo program carried out by the US government back in the 60s. We had the first man on the moon with Apollo 11, driving around the lunar surface, and of course, some pretty cool and entertaining videos of messing around with lunar gravity. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so back in the 60s, if we would ask someone back in the 60s where it would be right now in 2010, what would he tell you? He would probably tell you that we would be living on the moon and maybe just colonizing Mars. So the question is, why aren't we? What's the big difference between now and the 60s? There are a lot of differences, but one key component is that back in the 60s, we had a space race between the US and Russia going on. And on the other hand, scientists used to be more like heroes, not comparable to our nowadays heroes. That is pretty much defined by radio, TV, cinema, you name it. So, to get a little bit back of the spirit that we had back then, we now have the Google Lunar X Prize. The Google Lunar X Prize is a competition, obviously set up by Google, with a $30 million grand prize awarded to the first team being able to securely land a rover on the lunar surface, let it drive around 500 meters, and, of course, transmit back an HD high-resolution video feed live to Earth. This is something pretty cool if you imagine that it is something that has never been done before. It's not like any robotic mission that you've encountered so far. So, speaking of this, currently the Google Lunar X Prize has about 21 teams participating from over 12 nations. So it's the first completely international competition that we have. Normally competitions like this are bound to certain countries due to tax restrictions. As this one is powered by Google, it's completely open. So if you're now thinking about participating in the Google Lunar X Prize, what do you need? Just as simple, you need a way to get to the moon. It is this. So luckily, in the last 5 years, nearly overnight, a new provider called SpaceX showed up. These guys doing really great work, and are able to get you from Earth to low Earth orbit and beyond for a fraction of the cost that you normally have associated with a mission like this. So, okay, we are now set to go to the moon. So what else do you need for a mission something like this? It's right, a lot of motivation and pizza. Of course, I always like the hot dog style one, but it's up to us. Okay, let's talk about our team, the part-time scientists. We are the first German team participating in the Google Lunar X Prize for nearly 1.5 years right now. So our team consists of 40 members all around the world, doing it all in their free time. We are a little bit, let's say, we have one common goal. We really want to win this competition. So our team is made up of researchers, engineers, developers, aerospace specialists, and even members of the former Apollo program, which is really cool. So what is our approach to the Google Lunar X Prize? As we are all engineers and not some bloated management overhead, we are pretty much focused on the technical part. We took the GLXP and divided in tiny little pieces and approached each of them separately. So one of the greatest motivations on working on a project like this is that you have people from young to old, from all professions, working together towards a common goal that you can always see the results. So let's speak about my key motivation to doing this. One of the greatest things for me to work on the Google Lunar X Prize is that you're doing things that you've never done before and even considered doing. Like standing right here in front of you giving the speech, or, for example, presenting our very first prototypes back in December last year in front of more than 1,000 people at the CCC Congress here in Berlin last December, as I said. Okay, so working on the Google Lunar X Prize, you really can't do this without help and support of certain partners. We've managed to convince a lot of companies to help us, which is quite cool, and you should see some of them here. We've managed to get over 10 companies on board to help us in less than a year, which is quite cool. And I personally would like to thank O'Reilly, because this is one of the reasons I'm here today. But in the end, it all comes down to one important thing that you always have to keep in mind. It's rocket science. And who doesn't want to be a rocket scientist? Thank you.